Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst, great Malabite, Emmanuel Efeni. Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. Good morning, Mr. Oseni.
Morning, sir.
Good morning, Mrs. Ayo Mairo Ese, proud member of the Delta Wives Association.
Thank you very much.
And we're doing well.
Very well.
Now, we'll start the review with this day, Nigeria's newspaper of record. The lead story, Obi wants more on Tinubu. BBC says no evidence of forgery. Atiku differs. President has no identity problem. APC replies opposition as controversy deepens. Of course, the candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, yesterday, of course, weighed into this matter, the matter of the Chicago State University certificate, which Atiku Abubakar, the PDP presidential candidate, is pursuing all the way to the Supreme Court, and he has filed his papers. But Mr. Obi's intervention yesterday, because he has not filed that at the Supreme Court to stake his claim to winning the presidential election. But the point he raised yesterday, what this has done to the image of Nigeria, can the president just come out and just tell us about himself? To remind us, if you will, Ruben, a short while ago, you just, off the cuff, you ask a Hebraimo, which school did you attend? And he just shot at you, Government College Ugele, which is just a shouting distance from my hometown, Owolomo, and University of Benin.
Where is that? Is that your village on the map?
Yes, it's on the map. That's the hometown of the great David Ejo, Major General, who retired from Nigeria, if you don't know. Let me just tell you that. And the current king of Olomu clan, the Oworode of Olomu, hails from that town. Owolomu actually is my relation, actually. So if you want to know how connected, you just let's leave that for now, Ruben. But the point I was making is that it was just easy for Ehi Brahima to shoot out his school, GCU, Uniben, just like that. So because this issue of Chicago State University certificate, which the BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation, is saying that, well, their fact checkers come up with the idea that, well, what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu submitted to INEC was not forged. Well, that is their view. But in the course of this, other issues have come up. Government College Lagos, at one time Government College Ibadan. The date of the founding of Government College Lagos, the date the president graduated from that school. These are issues that should concern every Nigerian and the image of Nigerians abroad. So I don't think Mr. Obi has done anything unusual in asking the president to, can you just please come out and state a few things for Nigerians to know you better? Perhaps if you change your name anywhere along the line, let Nigerians know. In the past, we've heard of presidents in other climes who came out to say, well, I once took crack, but that was in my youthful days and all that. So, but this issue perhaps will continue to be in the front burner. For those of us, the court of public opinion, the lawyers like Ruben, they don't believe we who are in the court of public opinion should have our say. We will continue to have our say. The court of public opinion is not a place where drunken sailors discuss. Intellectuals like Ruben, but these days he prefers to take side with his lawyer friends. But we will have our say on matters. But if the matter is at the Supreme Court, we'll wait to hear the verdict of the Supreme Court. Now, the Punch newspaper also reporting this story, certificate forgery. Atiku Obi protests as BBC fact checkers clear Tinubu. BBC says document confirm President CSU diploma. APC carpets Atiku Obi. PDP LP tackle Tinubu. Say certificate issue tarnishing nation's image. But there's another story on the front page of the Punch below the photograph. Ohaneze hails Igboho's release, asked Tinubu to free Kanu. Yes, Sunday Igboho has been freed, and he owed his gratitude to former President Olusegun Obasanjo and other Yoruba elders who intervened on his behalf. And he has reunited with his family in Germany. So, Ohaneze welcoming that development and just believe and are asking that similar gesture should be extended to Nnamdi Kanu so that there can be peace, calm in the southeast. Not too much to ask for, and I just want to believe President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will take a look at that. Now, the Vanguard newspaper, the lead story, APC will be at war over Tinubu, but two other stories in the front page of the Vanguard. Beside the photograph, Senate, Lagos move to end Apapa gridlock. Yes, the intractable Apapa gridlock is still a big problem in the city of Lagos, and of course in that zone called Apapa, where we have the ports. We just hope this time around some solution will be found for good. Now, below the photograph, inflation, protect poor people from high energy prices. IMF to federal government. Well, IMF making the recommendation to the federal government. Of course, the poor need to be protected. And that's the lead story of the New Telegraph newspaper. IMF to Nigeria, stop CBN's budget deficit financing. Says exemption costing Nigeria, others 5% tax to GDP. World Bank president advocates increase intra-Africa trade. A number of advisory coming from the Bretton Woods institutions to the Nigerian government. Now, the Leadership newspaper also has the certificate saga. Atiku Obi kick as BBC clears Tinubu of forgery. BBC reports a hatchet job. PDP presidential candidate come clean on educational records identity. Obi. Now, the Nation newspaper on its front page also has a story. Tinubu needs not reintroduce himself. Quoting the APC, the lead story of the Nation newspaper, Nigeria leads demand for Africa's debt relief from IMF. The Guardian newspaper, Nigeria's The Guardian newspaper, FX, arbitrary rules leave telecoms to Big Four, cripples 568 firms. Yes, Nigerian telecom market is now dominated by MTN, Airtel, Glo, and 9 Mobile. And of course, operating cost put at 2 trillion naira against revenue of 3.88 trillion naira. Of course, the telecoms companies smiling to the bank. Of course, with the situation, broadband population coverage target is being threatened. According to this report, over 568 local service providers go moribund in 5 years. Local content in telecom sector is 16%. Small players lament as MNOs get 86% industry revenue. FX crisis, DMB's insensitivity to ask more players. 90% broadband population coverage target is being threatened. Experts are canvassing policy review to stem the tide. Now, the Daily Sun newspaper, ex-governors, ministers forfeit billions, houses to EFCC, recovered property in choice areas in Lagos, Cross River, Abuja. Well, according to this report, the EFCC is currently investigating a number of ministers that served under the Buhari government. And, of course, they are uncovering a number of properties and recovering some, including immediate past governors who left office May 29. So this EFCC, very busy there. Abdul Rashid Bawa, the former EFCC boss, still in custody. Abdul Karim Choko, the new EFCC boss, doing his work there, recovering property, choice property from politicians. Now, the Daily Trust newspaper, Tinubu yet to convene FEC, that's FEC, FEC meeting 44 days after inaugural meeting. Council meetings important to address current challenges. CSOs are stating Tinubu Shetima on 23-day foreign trips in September. President has different idea of FEC functions. Aid. Ministerial retreat delaying cabinet meeting source. Of course, 44 days after the inaugural meeting, there's been no FEC meeting ever since. Yesterday was Wednesday. Usually you expect the Federal Executive Council to meet, but not this time. And one aide to the president is saying, yes, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Print Media, Abdul Aziz said President Tinubu has a different idea of the functions of the Federal Executive Council. I think this is not an issue because there's no specific time for FEC meeting. Nobody said there are specific provisions for FEC meeting, and every government can work out things that will suit it. The most important thing is that ministers are working. Well, Ruben, you know much about this government at the federal level. I don't know whether this presidential aide is talking sense or is just saying something just to say something. Sometimes, Ruben, like you say, can't these people keep quiet if you don't have anything to say? Ruben, I want to get your take on that. But the foreign newspapers, quickly, we just look at two foreign newspapers. The Times of London, Israeli coalition ready to invade. Netanyahu forms war government. Troops expected to cross into Gaza next week. British Airways suspend flights over rocket fear. The Washington Post also reporting from the Gaza, closed borders, falling bombs choke Gaza, thousands injured as supplies wane, with Israelis toll at 1,200, leader vows Hamas end. Well, the bombs raining down on Gaza, where the Palestinians attacking innocent or civilians, the Israelis bombing innocent Palestinians, unless you want to say there's no innocent Palestinians. But they said they are fighting Hamas, but many who have died from those bomb blasts are not Hamas members. Ruben, Rufai, and Ayo.
Okay, real quickly. So a couple of stories I want to talk about. Number one is the press statement given by Mr. Peter Obi yesterday as regards what is happening. I think what we should do is we should dial back as a society that is it even sane for us to have a society with even this conundrum in the first place? The fact that we have somebody that is leading us, that all of these matters have come out to the fore. And I think we should introspect. Although the cases
we have
in
a
court,
president we elect, not
yes,
somebody.
I mean,
we have a president elect.
Okay, the president-elect. No, the president, not the president-elect, the president.
I said the president elected by Nigerians.
By Nigerians. So when we look at it deeply, what does this speak about us as a nation? And it's not even about only the president. It's about the major candidates in the last election. We've had one thing being pointed at one or the other. And it speaks volumes about our country. This is the same country where we say, oh, we have a lot of intellectuals. I know it's not about intellectuals that run politics, but you should also make a case for the most basic level of societal accountability. And that is what we have seen one too many that lacks. We'll wait for the court to rule, but after the court rules, we need to introspect deeply as a nation and ask ourselves the pertinent question. That should we even be here in the first place? That people that finally emerge from our political process, they have suspect accountability issues as regards their papers at some point. And this is not only for one candidate, this is for all candidates across board. You know, there was another candidate that the matter came up with, but he brought an affidavit that he did swear. So for us, it's for us to sit back now and introspect as a society. Because you see, Ayo, you were talking this morning, and I'd like to disagree with you mildly, because we know people are suffering in Nigeria. We know people, there's a lot of pain and all of that. This matter on ground is not a distraction, because this is where the leadership even comes from in the first place. You are wondering why have people suffered constantly. It's because the process that brings about our leadership is suspect. There's no level of accountability. So you now get leaders that don't even think about the suffering of the people who can't provide solutions to the problem. How do you want to have it? How do you want to have it when you have a level of leadership like this in the first place? And check across board. It's not even the presidential level, even governorship level. This is the same country where a governor was asked about the school he went to. He said the case is in courts. So it is time for us to look deeply. I don't think we've done that enough as a country. Is this the country we truly want for ourselves? Can we be proud to bequeath this for the generation yet unborn? Or we want a country of technicalities as long as I'll get my way?
I think, Robert, you want to weigh in the Ayo first?
No, that's not the subject I want to comment on. I already commented on that earlier. I don't like repeating myself. I wanted to respond to the story you brought up about council not meeting. Well, what the constitution
44 days after.
Well, what the constitution of Nigeria says is that the council should meet regularly. It does not even specify that it has to be on a specific day. And the whole idea is that the president wielding executive powers is given the opportunity under the constitution again, section 5, to appoint people to assist him and for him to also delegate authority. Now, if the president has spent 5 months and he has appointed 48 ministers and he has not held council meeting to focus on issues of state, then those who are complaining, they have a point, because they want governance to start. They want governance to be in process. So that's simply the issue. You can't run, governance is not a one-man show. You can't just say I'm president and then I'll be running it from my office. No, that's why the ministers have been appointed, and to give every constituent part a sense of belonging. The second point about the horror in the Middle East, deaths and more deaths. Now, Israel now is contemplating
circle of bloodbath,
ground invasion, okay? But you mentioned BBC. The major problem that BBC has is not even the Nigerian story. It is the fact that people are accusing, in England, the BBC of referring to Hamas as a militant group. They want BBC to refer to Hamas as a terrorist group. The King and the Prince of Wales have both said, look, Hamas is a terrorist group. So the question is being asked, why is BBC being neutral and saying a militant group? So you see the various dimensions to all of this. Well, we've run out of time. Thank you very much, Emmanuel.